it would likely have to be replaced if they wanted to use it. So I actually spoke to Rory on the phone after our letter went out and kind of gave him the quick dime tour of, issues that are still outstanding. In order to make that plan work, they're going to have to do some revisions to their grading plan. I think they can make it work. I just think it's a little more difficult than the plan shows.
There's only 3 items. 2 is not addressed. You said 12 are partially addressed. Is that correct?
Yeah, so out of the 17 original comments from the first review letter, they fully addressed 7. And the remainder, obviously the first comments, some waivers that were discussed at the prior meeting. 2 is related to lighting. We still haven't seen what's actually out there as far as what's installed and modified. And then the detention basin is one of the other, not major items, but it currently doesn't have an outlet right now. And the way that it's graded and shown on their plan is they're likely going to have to go off site to get a gravity outlet. It'll likely be to the north on Olthoff's parcel.
Okay.
And the top of it, and in the basin, it starts at 739 and then goes down to 737.
735 and a half, actually.
735 and a half.
So that corresponding contour on the outlet side is probably 10 plus feet onto Olthoff's parcel. So in order to get a gravity restricted pond, they need to extend it. They would need some type of access agreement or drainage easement from Olthoff to make that pond functionable.
All right.
Cross access? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, cross access, some type of right of entry to place it. I think we're obviously pretty certain that the drainage pattern goes that way, and Olthoff has, accounted for that in their drainage design. It's just a matter of they will need access to that site to install it.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
until this review, did you know that?
We had a decent thought. There is an existing basin out there that it really just functioned more like a hole because there's not an existing outlet on the existing basin. At least one wasn't shown on the existing topography. That was one of our original comments to verify there's nothing there. And we said they need to have one. And they came back and said we provided an overflow weir, which isn't acceptable. That's needed as well, but they also need a restricted release.
All right.
Can this plan commission act if it's not addressed by the property owner and the adjacent property owner?
If Olthoff says no, then we potentially have a problem. Because there's really no other room to say expand it, make it wider, less deep. There is a public right of way immediately adjacent to the west. It's a paper right of way, First Avenue it's called, where you could extend it out there. But again, it's not his parcel.
So if not addressed, we could have another Wicker Meadows on our hands.
No, not to that
Not in the same
extent.
scope,
No, but it would be non-compliant as far as, comparing it to your stormwater ordinance.
Okay. Building department. Any thoughts?
No, I mean, obviously, the pond needs to have an outlet, so I think that's a pretty important part to the puzzle, it looks like to me, and
All right.
Just
happen.
as a note, it looks like there's a page missing in your packet.
Yeah,
The second page is missing.
Don's letter.
Yeah,
Is that why it goes from number 10 to
that would be it.
2 to 10? I thought they eliminated those or something like that.
No.
The same thing.
New math, Tim.
It just got split out. I don't know.
All right. Well, since any commissioners, do you have any immediate thoughts before we hear from the petitioner?
No.
No. Okay. Zoomers?
No.
Okay, then I guess this is a public meeting portion, so if the petitioner would like to come to the podium and/or with his engineer, that would.
Rory Ravens, 12528 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
Don Torringer, Torringer Engineering.
All right. I think we all knew some of this was going to be a little challenging. So do you have any solutions to some of Mr. Oliphant's questions?
Well, we have solutions to everything except the outlet. So, yes.
All right.
And, all I can say is that we turned it around from last week, Wednesday to Monday, and then we got a second review today. We did not have time to turn it around.
All right.
If I can, I think where it would be emptying into is technically the Altough wetlands, right next to us, and it's not on the property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think these, I noticed that when I went by.
Okay.
I still think some of these things need to be addressed, don't they?
I mean, that's certainly the biggest one. I think we can work out the grading. I mean, Roy and I were talking on the way here. They can either go with the plan they submitted or something they kind of had before. I mean, they can probably make it easier potentially with just ripping out that existing system and replacing it. But something will work. If it's a modification of the two plans they've submitted, or it's the one they've submitted now or the original one, something will work.
Is there anybody from Altough here that could answer going into the,
Or would want to answer.
yeah,
Not
All
today.
right. I guess a little more homework to do, I guess.
Does that outfall have to be across that property line? It can't be pushed back to the line, or?
No, the corresponding grade you'd have to come out at is on Old Tough's parcel. It's a good 10-ish feet into it. So you'd be on their property.
Can the structure remain on his property and then just grade a little bit, or?
The restrictor manhole would be at the berm. It's the outlet pipe. It's got to be at that, elevation. Only way you can get a gravity outfall, it's got to extend north.
But does the outlet pipe have to protrude north of the property line, or does the grading just need to, can that end of that pipe be at the property line and then just graded, or it has to
Well,
continue?
yes, but you'd still need access. So you probably could peel the grades back and leave your invert at your property line. But I think it's a good 2.5 feet difference.
At least, yes.
So it would be a pretty big swell you're pulling back. So
So-
one of the two, they needed access to either grade it back or access to stick a pipe on the property.
could this be approved contingent on Altough granting it?
That's a policy decision.
I think there's, we're way close on this now. I think you have a good neighbor arrangement with Olthoff. You've all been here at the same time, many times. But I think we need to get some of these things on paper.
So are you asking for an actual easement, or are you asking for just an agreement? Saying, go ahead and do it.
Mr. Ashen, what would you suggest?
There needs to be a cross-access easement.
For process for maintaining?
However, it will preserve the structure
Function.
that's built or the deposit that's made onto the old top facility. Yes.
I think also some kind of timeline agreement. I'm going to ask Mr. Austin to write that up. We talked about a year. The list has gotten longer. So, if 18 months works, I personally don't see a problem with that as long as we have a timeline for when this will all be finished. So,
Sooner than later. I hope.
yeah, no, I understand. I totally get it. So what else do we need them to bring back if this was deferred tonight?
We need to get into the details of the grading plan. They obviously need to open a discussion with Olthoff if we're going to keep the same pond configuration, which I think we have to. And we'll go from there.
And the lighting.
And lighting.
Yeah, the cross section of the blacktop. I think that was on the original one you had shown.
What do you mean cross
There was
section?
something mentioned in here about the the blacktop surface standards.
Well, that's in there. That made it.
Okay, all right.
I think if we're going to maintain the current grading we have now, make sure it's smooth and consistent. And if we're going to maintain that, we have to look at that.
All right. And then we need to see kind of officially kind of what's been done with the lights on the building. Because that good neighbor thing, trying to keep that consistent.
Yeah, we got a deflector. We didn't put it on because we got a damaged light to put it on.
Yeah.
So didn't want to do that without knowing.
I think,
we were doing it.
yeah, I can tell you turn them down. This is my personal thing. I can tell you turn them down to 50%. But you don't have a horizontal lens, and that's the key to this whole thing. And Don can help you with that.
Yeah, and I asked Rory if you could provide the model number. I can see whatever kind of, what the manufacturer makes as far as shielding and see what works.
I'm not sure those wall packs have such a thing, but I wish you guys all the best of luck.
Yeah, I just wanted to see it. And if there's an alternative to, bring it more into compliance, then we'll work with it.
All right. So I guess, yes, sir.
Say 18 months.
I'm just looking for a window that Rory may be good with, because
I don't
I
want
don't-
to stick a number in that is not the number.
no, I was just,
There are the
okay.
amount of time, it's not the amount of
let me re-speak. We're gonna need a window that you're comfortable when this is all gonna be finished. So, I mean, if you still think you can stay in that 12-month window that we discussed last time, I thought you had said that you can work with that.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest issue now is getting people lined up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure,
well, there's,
They're all busy, and the longer we
Yeah.
go, the
Yeah.
harder it's gonna be,
okay. So I didn't want there to be any surprises when Mr. Austin has some kind of agreement that says, you'll have all this done in 12 months. I mean, I want a number that you think is reasonable and we think is reasonable.
I'm
So-
fine with 12 months.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, so I guess this item needs some homework. Would anybody like to make a deferral or a motion for a deferral or anything like that? Zoomers, anybody?
Is he okay with the deferral? He has to bring stuff back to us. right?
Well, yeah, there's still more homework to do
Yeah.
here and more approvals by Don.
So deferral for 2 weeks or?
I don't know.
I
Mr.
don't
Taringa,
know
what do
how
you
long
think?
It's going to take to get any kind of an access agreement from with all.
All right, well, I mean,
No idea.
if,
I can let Michelle know. I'll call him, and he's been good about everything else. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
I'll call him.
We can just make it.
Yeah, I just need to know what kind
Yeah.
of language that
Yeah,
needs to be. That's gonna satisfy everybody.
yes, sir.
He's already operating his business on the property as is. We're not gonna go out there and stop it.
Yeah.
And there's a reasonable time.
Yeah, see what you can get done in 2 weeks and we'll keep it on the agenda, that's all.
And let Michelle know, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let her know if we can't do it.
Go ahead, we have to.
So are you good with the deferral for tonight? Can we get the homework done? Okay.
All right, now make a motion that we defer this for 2 weeks.
All right. Second by Mr. Sharp. Zoomers, we have a motion for a deferral by Mr. Capora and a second by Mr. Sharp. Roll call, please. Oh, sorry.
Comment.
Go ahead.
I'm hoping that we get this set up where they meet with staff ahead of time, like Mr. Austin suggested, because this is deferral after deferral, and it's not fair to the petitioners trying to get what they need. And so,
I understand, Bob, and you know what? If I could speak technically out of the realm of what I'm responsible for here, that'd be great. If Mr. Kubiak could do the same, that'd be great. But we can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't make suggestions. We can't do some of these things.
yeah, but
That
hopefully.
would, that
in
would
the
be, that would be
future-
very helpful for him.
Hopefully in the future,
Yeah.
they'll meet with staff, and we won't have it on the agenda until it's ready.
That's correct. And that's the goal. And the items we're going to require that should be on a site plan should all be there. There's always going to be those existing business expansions and modifications. We're always going to have those. So,
Just so I'm clear though.
Yeah.
So we need some kind of release from Alltop in that, but on his end, I mean, we basically.
Yeah, we can just, he and I can, Don and I can talk about it.
and you and I will have a talk too.
Sure. I'm sure.
Just, okay. Are you good, Bob?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kapoor for a deferral. We have a motion, a second by Mr. Sharp for a deferral. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer.
Yes.
Doug Becker.
Yes.
Sean Horman.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Capora.
Yes.
Jerry Mulkey.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
You're closer than you think. I hope. Excuse me, I'm a little slow here. Gotta get through the 58 pages. My God. I have to take a class on this. Yeah, baby. Not yet. Gonna get pretty quick. All right, for ratings. Oh, not again. Not again, 58 pages.
So the last 40, it's all on,
All the what?
18 to 58 are all on one page.
Yeah, I just wanted this, okay. Sure.
Hey, Jerry, I just screenshotted it to you on your phone.
Challenge enough right now, John. Okay, old business, Ledgestone. Performance letter of credit expires November 15th, 2021. Owner petitioner Diamond Creek, 1313 White Hawk, Crown Point, 46307. The petitioner would like to convert performance letter of credit to maintenance letter of credit. Is this on track, Don?
It is. We recommend that it be rolled over.
Okay,
The total would be $211,943.33 for a period of 3 years.
all right.
43 cents.
33.
Is there a petitioner here on this item? Name and address for the record, please.
Michael Tiller with Schilling Development, representing the petitioner. Pretty simple here to convert from performance letter of credit to a 3-year maintenance letter of credit or down to letter.
Everything has been inspected, and accepted. So they're ready to go. Final coat of asphalt went down maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Do you have any questions about the number he threw out?
No, well,
Okay.
we have the bank working on our bond and Devin.
Okay.
Can you so on.
Mr. District,
What's the expiration date?
2021.
Don said, you said 3 years, right?
The current performance?
Well, the current
Yeah,
one.
current one's not until next year.
2021.
Yep.
All right.
All right, you're good?
Good.
Anybody have any questions?
None.
None questions. Building department, any questions? Anybody? Okay. All right, I guess we're good. See you in 2 weeks.
You need a motion?
We can vote on it.
Public meeting.
Oh,
It's
vote
a
on
work
it.
session.
So we're still in the
This
public.
is still part of the, it's old business under the public meeting.
At old business, special public meetings, Raven site plan number 1. This is old business, Ledgestone number 1. Okay. We're Hope this is gonna be public meeting? Are we good with that?
That's the staff was.
Okay,
Their explanation.
okay.
We didn't close special meeting.
Come on back up here real quick. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding the old business, number one, Ledgestone Performance Letter of Credit?
I will make a motion that the maintenance letter of credit establishing in the amount of $211,943.33 for a period of 3 years.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Carnahan. Does anyone have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Kapora. Roll call, please.
Heather Dosauer,
Yes.
Rick Becker,
Yes.
Tom Foreman,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Josh Corr,
Yes.
Gary Wilson.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now we've gotten into the work session.
Now you're going to end the public meeting and go to the work session.
Yes, sir. Unless you have something else.
No.
All right. All right, that concludes the public meeting. We're going to get into the work session. New business, Lindsway Development and Rezone. Owner petitioner, Lindsway Development LLC, PO Box 677, St. John, Indiana, vicinity of 14627 Parish Avenue, Cedar Lake. Legal description, Lindsway Unit 1 of Lot 27. Well, Lot 27. Petitioner is requesting a rezone from residential multifamily RM zoning district to residential R2 zoning district. Their petitioner here.
Michael Kilmer, Schilling Development, representing Lindsway. Here tonight for feedback and to request a favorable recommendation to convert this single lot we have off of Parish. We want to convert it from residential multifamily to R2. It's always been zoned residential multifamily when we started the development, so we want to put a single family home on it.
Well, that's always promising.
Yes. But wasn't this in front of the zoning one?
I think so. All right, Don?
No comments, just for reference, this was the lot that had the big stockpile on it. It's been removed.
Oh.
So give you an idea where it's at.
Okay. I think I know where all they're at.
Yeah.
Mr. Austin, everything's good?
Excited.
Yeah, this is good. Building department?
Sure.
Are we good? All right. I guess, this will be ready in 2 weeks. Good. All right. I guess there are no more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, public hearing notice in the newspaper, gone to the newspaper, all that, ready to go for 2 weeks. So we'll be. But not public, so I'm not looking for
All right, next item, Schilling subdivision. The owner is Bernard Janowski, 13913 Lack Drive, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is Greg Schilling, 10133 Wellington Court, Dyer. Vicinity is 13913 Lack Drive, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting preliminary plat and final plat for a one-lot subdivision. Petitioner like to come on to the podium.
Good evening, on behalf of Greg Schilling, 10133 Wellington Court in Dyer, Indiana. This is up for study session on, a work session on the subdivision, one lot subdivision. Believe drawings have been sent over, engineers have reviewed. I don't know if there were additional comments on the engineering or if the commission had any other comments. We would be requesting a preliminary and final plat at the next meeting.
All right. Don, you had,
We did look at it. We issued a letter in the second review of the preliminary and final plat documents submitted by DVG, their engineer. Typical one lot sub with a lot of the similar engineering waivers that we've seen recently. Floodplain delineation on the lot and deeding a 10-foot utility easement along Binion. So, but other than that, the comments are typical one lot subs. Nothing out of the ordinary.
All right. Is first, Mr. Schilling, you're representing, does he have any concerns about any of these engineers'
No,
comments?
We have spoken with the engineer briefly today. The engineer didn't have any issues with what was addressed, so.
Yeah.
We likely won't be.
And the stormwater waivers are because it's up on
It's up on a hill and it's direct access to the lake.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions about this?
No, it looks to me like it's on the east side of Lac Drive, correct?
Well, yeah, east,
Yeah.
southeast, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
that goes through it, which is
Yeah.
private.
I think Binion's access to the garage, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Binion's the public access.
Okay.
Lacks private technically.
Chuck, Heather, any comments?
Not
Mr. Carnahan?
No, sir.
No,
Guy, you good?
no, I'm good.
Good, here, Jim.
No? Mr. Austin? Everything seems,
Are the conveyances, dedications all gonna be on the plan itself?
They will be upon revisions. Yeah.
How long will we do those?
okay.
The items pertaining to dedication.
The only dedication was going to be on the southeast side of the house off of Binion.
Off Binion. I mean, right
Everything-
now,
Everything on the lakeside is good?
There is
Yeah.
there's a easement we put in along Lac Drive.
yeah, lack is kind of, it's described as a vehicle and footway, which we asked for clarification that it was actually private. I'm pretty confident lack is private, Binion is public. So we just asked for some clarification on the plat that be referenced a little bit better.
Lac Drive is private property.
Homeowners.
Takes care of Lac Drive.
No idea. I mean, I'm sure we plow Lac Drive.
I thought a
There's a lot
handful,
of those little roads, those little side roads, but
I thought a handful of years ago, Lac Drive there was an attempt to vacate it. That's why I'm
there
confused.
was, I think there was too, but I don't think that was that.
Well, if it didn't get vacated, then it still has to be public property.
I don't believe it probably didn't proceed as a vacation of a public way because our indication is it is a private way.
And before Parish Avenue was our road and it was the county, we still plowed that road because our residents lived there and we wanted them to be able to get out and go to work and stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
We're gonna want that. Maybe
Yeah.
the title work will help with that.
It's kind of where our comment was going.
What is, zoom in on the GIS, what is that showing?
Well, it shows the lot going right through it. So that's an indication that it's private, but it's not always accurate either.
That's Old Cedar Lake.
Yeah.
We really need clarity.
So I imagine Glenn's got something that backs up his note. Just kind of have to see it.
Run going to the flat.
I think so.
Run back.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the way it shows on there, it looks like just like an easement.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then the question is it public or private?
Well, right away could be.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Terminology.
It's the genesis of the comment. We just need a little more clarity on it. I'm sure Glenn has it already. Just kind of has to provide it to us.
All right,
I have worked with Glenn on those issues. I believe he has all the documents.
What about the front yard setback line of 25 feet versus 30? Why is that?
We have
We also don't think-
zoning variance.
Okay. On the side of the ground.
I don't think we'll be quite at 25 feet either.
Gotcha. So that's, it is intentional for the garage.
Yes.
I just noticed it was 25 instead of 30.
Right.
And we didn't recommend any more right-of-way dedication through there just because the adjacent properties literally have structures right up against the especially when there's a pole line there as well, and it'll never be widened.
All right. Are you good?
Yes. Thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, item 3, Lennar final plat, Lennar Group, 1141 East Main Street, Suite 108, East Dundee, Illinois. Vicinity west 142nd Place and Heritage Way, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a final plat for Rose Garden Estates Phase 2, 108 lots and 1 outlot. Petitioner here. Sorry.
Good evening, Mr. President and fellow board members. Thank you for the opportunity to be in front of you this evening. For those that may not know me, and for the record, my name is Todd Clevin. I am the entitlement and planning manager for Lennar, Northwest Indiana, out of our offices, which are located in East Dundee, 1141 East Main Street, Suite 108, East Dundee, Illinois. I'm also a Lake County resident residing at 250 East 123rd Place. I've been in front of you many times over the last 20 years, wearing different hats. And as you talked about Parrish Avenue, I remember when Jim Hawk and I were running water main down on Washboard Road. I wasn't one rooftop out there. You guys have done a great job managing your growth. A few weeks ago, I've accepted a position with Lennar. I'm excited about that. And I was asked this evening to represent their Phase 2 plat of Rose Garden on 141st Avenue, just west of Parrish. We're in front of you this evening as a workshop under item 3 for the administrative procedure of approving the final plat for recording. As I was doing my due diligence and my homework, I've worked very closely with your engineer, Don, and your staff, Tim Kubiak, and I've learned their understanding of the subdivision and their concerns. And we are scheduled, hopefully, to meet as early as next week to go over some of the issues and the concerns in-house. I'm hoping my presence local here will be able to help mend some of those issues and move forward. I look forward to that meeting. But more so, again, we're here this evening to focus on Phase 2. Phase 2, I understand it was a condition of the town to request the water main to be looped into the Ledgestone subdivision. Until recently, we were struggling on the route and the access. There's a strip of land around the Ledgestone subdivision that we just reached an agreement with the property owner in which we now have access, or will have access to cross that. The proposed water main loop was tentatively designed as early as today. I have that here that I can hand out. Once Don has a chance to review that and approve that path, we will then jump in to the full engineering. We also will increase our Phase 2 performance bond amount to reflect that construction. I have that with me this evening as well. With your permission, I do have some handouts. I'd like to introduce our team and have our engineer pass those out to you.
Are your intentions to be
Our
complete?
design engineer that's going to pass out the handouts, his name is Kevin Matre. He is with Mackey Engineers Consultants. Also with me this evening is our Vice President of Land Development, Mr. Al Erickson, and our Land Development Manager, Tom McSherry.
Your intention to have this ready in 2 weeks? All this ready in 2 weeks? This approval?
Yes,
We'll get into
water
that.
main.
Okay.
That's our intention.
All right. Yes, sir.
We inquire about this.
I was, yeah, did you get one of these? I'm curious about where it is. Yeah.
With learning the history of the project, which started in 2019, I've done a lot of homework over the past couple of days. And it was my understanding when the town made the request and the requirement to loop the water main, obviously, avenue, if by chance something would ever happen where part of the water main would need to be worked on or maintained. The first proposal was to go from our northeast property corner of the community east on the south side of 141st to Parish. However, we learned that that was not the request of the town due to that would not solve the issue on all the residents in Lindsay and Ledgestone. We have then proposed a new route. It would go through our phase 3 portion of Rose Garden in between lots 41 and 42, crossing a strip of land that borders Ledgestone through an outlot that is currently owned by the town of Cedar Lake. We would bore underneath the recently paved road in Ledgestone, and then we would make a connection on the other side, the outlot A. And we also owned by the town of Cedar Lake. I need to check on that. That is our proposed route. The hindrance for that route was obviously crossing that 10-foot strip.
Do you have that marked on this in blue? Is that what we see in blue?
You can see it right
In
there.
the
Yes,
corner?
down at the
Okay,
south, down at
alright.
the southeast corner or your bottom right. You're holding north on south.
Highlighted.
Okay.
So you can see the lot number, obviously, lot number was inadvertently misnumbered on the Cary Street plat. I believe that was old townhome lots prior to it being replatted. But anyway, if you look at what's on the paper in front of you, it says lot number 4 on Cary Street. We're going just south of that with our 12-inch water main.
All right. Don, any concerns with any of this at this
So
moment?
regarding, I mean, the phase 2 platting, the reason you don't have a letter is because of this issue. The town's made a requirement to make looping part of this phase. So we were waiting on basically an alignment, more details of the actual loop distance so we can actually figure out what we need to incorporate into the letter of credit for the phase. So we have some minor plat comments that'll go along with it, but they're minor in nature and we can correct them in 2 weeks.
The details within phase 2, we consist of a total of 108 units. 32 of those are cottage homes, 46 are single-family homes, and 30 of those are the attached villas. The total acreage of the phase is 52.9 acres, and the density is 2.04. Best of my knowledge, nothing has changed from when it was originally presented to you at the primary plat approval. And just to recap, my excitement of being with Lennar, hoping to mend any type of miscommunication that may have happened with the staff and the employees of Lennar. Again, I'm a local resident, and we're looking forward to moving forward.
Did you say it was 52 acres?
Yes.
I think it's pledge is 26.
That 26 that you're reading, I believe, is the acreage pertaining to the lots and the lots only. I included the outlots.
Okay. I think the entire phase has to be shown on there. So
Page 104 in the bottom right-hand corner under area. Don, you might be correct. I apologize. It says total and I added everything up.
Okay.
I apologize. You are correct. It is. It's 24 acres, and then below that is the aggregate of how we got to that number. That would also change the density calculation.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear things got worked out.
I do currently have that tentative agreement in writing via an email. And we're in the process of drafting it up. The only thing holding the easement agreement up would obviously be the legal description and the engineering. Mackey Consultants feels like they can have that designed within a week to have something to your engineer to review.
That would be good.
Yeah.
A week from now would be good. Mr. Austin, any concerns?
Being concerned about the 10-foot spike strip. All of that, that's what everybody else is calling. And whether that has been removed or is part of the resolution to the water looping access between the two communities or the parcels has occurred or not. I'm also standing here doing it for back in the day.
It's my understanding, yes, when I was with Hawk Development, he was going through some difficult times with recapture. And I believe,
Well, he kind of snuck that one past all of us. So, resolution tied to that is what?
resolution is the agreement that we have reached. I was on the phone with Mr. Jack Slager, who is an employee to one of the owners of the entity of that strip. He has agreed for a monetary contribution from us to grant us an easement across that strip. Easement with 20 feet, which I believe is what is required for water main within the ordinance. We have not discussed the width, but honestly, if there's something else that you're asking for, I'm sure that we'd be willing to do that. Jack's indication to me and myself was that this is not to benefit either one of us, it's to benefit the safety and well-being of the residents with the water main. And that's the reason why it's taking place, is out of the spirit of cooperation.
Well, that's good to hear, but the legalities of removal are what I'm concerned about for future expansion, future roofing, future utility needs. It's a 10-foot strip too. It's nearly enough for putting pipe in the ground, if you will.
Right down the middle. of it.
Do we require 20?
Well, I mean, the minimum easement is 12 feet, but it depends on what's around it, how deep it is. There's a lot of factors that go into it beyond that if it needs to be bigger.
Well, Todd had just said whatever we were going to require.
Yeah, I mean, the minimum utility easement that we require is 12. I don't think there's anything specific to,
Depends on the size
Yeah.
of the pipe.
Yeah. if it's
20
super
feet.
deep, then we want to go wider. But there's no
Well-
specific easement width for water.
Happened decades to follow. The needs of the town for the benefit of the community residents. So what I'm talking about public. And then just 10 foot back. That 10 foot should have been part of the development.
Should have been part of Ledgestone and Winslow.
Exactly. So I guess rather beat around the bush and say that. Some of you know what my recommendation was, that not work out.
I mean, it extends all the way down to 149th and around the northern boundary of Ledgestone.
I've seen 10 feet being a lot in communities that are fixing things, doing infrastructure. I saw it in Dyer, with Rick Everett, I saw it, where we are, access was needed for storm drainage work, old subdivision, big. 10 feet easement. Was important. Now I had to go buy that. Anyway, I don't mean to prattle on, but.
Well-
It has legal impact.
What we're looking at, you're talking about lot 4. And you're talking about the water line in blue being part of on a bigger than 10-foot easement.
If I could speak to Mr. Austin, I think what he's
Sure.
referring to is somehow finding a way to get the pipe strip reverted back. to the end of that. So we're presenting, we were successful with acquiring an agreement to cross the 10-foot strip of land Mr. Austin was referring to. Is there a way the town can get their hands on the entire strip, correct? I mean, I would almost assure you if Lennar owned the strip, they would probably be able to do that. Unfortunately, that is out of our hands. We're fortunate enough to seek permission to cross it. But I can't imagine that's something that you would bring up to the current property owner at a later date.
They're showing people in the right. You know what's gonna happen tomorrow, right?
School taking vote.
They're gonna be involved.
All right. Well, that aside, Tim, any thoughts?
I still have some concerns with phase 1. I mean, me and Todd have talked about it. The water main leak was. we still have some fill in the county property to the east of the subdivision that, there was a retaining wall spec to be put in there, and, Lennar decided to get a agreement with the neighbor to the east, fill in some low spots, to the tune of 6 feet of fill. I mean, I don't know. Me and Don have had some conversation with people in the county, I mean, it's been a whole kind of Todd's had some conversation with the county now. But basically, they kind of changed gears from the approved plan and decided to go an alternate route to save from building the wall. They had some concerns with the safety of the wall, but obviously our concerns are filling outside of the town's jurisdiction.
I thought the safety of the wall had been discussed in here and everybody was good.
There was.
That was what was discussed.
It was just the way.
Is that fill documented somewhere? Because you certainly can't build on it.
Well, I mean, the fill is in an agreement, basically in an easement that Lennar acquired from Mr. Hawkinson in unincorporated Lake County. Like Tim said, the original approved design was to have a retaining wall pretty much across 13 lots. So the future development wasn't necessarily forced to build as high as they were building. They had a choice. But this all kind of got agreed to without us knowing until it was done. So
Which Hawkinson owns that?
Hawkinson,
property?
he granted the easement. Yeah.
And what's his first name, you know?
Charles.
Girls,
So we had been requesting Lennar for several months now to contact the county to see how they wanted to handle it permitting wise, because it's outside of our jurisdiction.
So, Mr. President, I've learned of this situation within the last 2 weeks during my recent hire with Lennar, and I immediately jumped on it and found out the history of the bill. And I can assure you we're very diligently working, coming up with plans to not only address this situation, but the other items within the punch list in phase one. Again, we're in front of you for phase two. I understand there's a trust factor and there's
I wouldn't,
concerns.
I don't see a trust factor. I just see a very short list of large proportions.
The water main is definitely a contingency of, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, the water main connection is a contingency of the phase two planning.
Yes, because the
The
cost
other
will have to be
issues-
included as part of letter of credit, and that's a product of the vote.
The other issues, and I have our land development manager, Tom McSherry here, who has built out phase one. He could speak on any of those items on that list if it truly impacts our phase two petition. However, the bond is still in place, and we have addressed, according to Mr. McSherry, the majority of those items. And his apologies for not responding sooner. His plan was to address them all and then respond with one final response. I can understand the duration of lining everybody up and tackling each and every item might appear as lack of communication, but they have assured me that is not the case. We will proceed differently in the future with that communication. And I think that it's already been
Well, lack
proven
of
in the last couple of days.
Go ahead.
Lack of communication definitely is the case. Lack of doing something is not the case, obviously. I know I see Tom out there every day, making progress on these things, but I mean, there's 87 things on that phase one list, and that's the concern. I know we have the performance bond monies, and I know we have that assurity that it gets done, but we as a town of Cedar Lake are not the developers of that property, nor do we want to be. I mean, we need to assure that they're doing their job, they're taking care of the things that they're taking care of. And my feelings are, and like I said, Todd's made some great strides, and since Tom's been on board, he's got some communication with us. He's picked up the ball and made some progress, but at the end of the day, I got a list with 87 things on them that need to be taken care of, and they're wanting to move on to phase two.
So you're not saying 87 in jest. You're saying 87 is a real number.
I think it's 85. But
Okay.
Is that in phase one?
Correct. And that's, and then the dirt, the dirt changing the plan and the lack of the retaining wall, which Lennar was against from the get-go because of the cost of the wall and the situation.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, well, here you go. This is what we did. And again,
countless hours.
And now we don't have that in place.
So countless hours of staff, your staff, Michelle, town staff. Is that astronomical also from being out there having to look at these things all the time?
Well, there's been a couple, and there's been some staff inspections and some, with obviously Don's time coming up with the list, but, and again, I mean, like I said, they've, in the recent past, they've made some progress, but at the same token, I brought that up when they brought up phase 2, like, hey, let's get phase 1 under control before we go to phase 2, and
Yeah.
I don't know that helped. I mean, they got new guys in here doing stuff, which is a difference, but at the same token, I don't want to be, having $20 million worth of performance bonds that we have, and now we keep growing our list of things that we need to make sure is right, before, what I mean? It's hard enough for the limited resources we have to keep up with what's going on, let alone, keep on,
Yeah.
we're pretty much just getting steamrolled. I mean, we've never experienced anybody of this magnitude building around here. I mean, these guys are building houses like, crazy. I mean, if you drive by there, it's just like every time you go by, there's another road, and it's crazy. It's hard to adjust to from our level just because it's new to us, and I get that. But
So how would you possibly get 85 items of some magnitude under control in 2 weeks?
Well, that has nothing to do.
That's not what phase two.
That's phase
Those
1.
are- No, that's from.
No, but I mean, their request for phase 2, is kind of hinging on some of the issues with phase 1.
I think the perceived lack of communication is in the fact that we have not had a response to the September 1st list. When I was here before you, we were talking about extending the letter of credit, or extending the surety. And at that time, we had measures in place to take care of the majority of these items. And when we're saying that there's 85 items, I venture to say there's probably more than that, because when you start looking at each structure, each valve box, each storm, everything that we have with that, there's quite a list. There's no two ways about it, and I think we've been very open with that. I've talked with Tim, I've talked with Don, I've assured them that we are making progress on it. I just sent Don a draft yesterday, and it's a draft. I specifically asked him not to share that with anybody in the town because we are not there. We have come a long way. We've got maybe a dozen items that are left. I have talked with our underground contractor, and there's been some back and forth. The punch list crew that he has had some COVID delays on it. He has assured me that the last member of that crew that has been having some effects by that, he is going to get tested again at the end of the week. His 2 weeks is up. As long as everything is fine, he can go back in and he can have the crew. We will have those items taken care of within the next 2 weeks, the physical work of them. And the conversation I had with the contractor was that, disagreements aside on where we were at with it, if it's not done within 2 weeks, I've got a contractor lined up to be able to come in the following week and take care of it. All the physical work on that punch list will be done by November 27th. Mackie will go back out, we will take shots of it, we'll make sure that everything is accurate, and we will respond to that punch list. Again, everything there is contained in Unit 1.
and what's the situation on the as-built in Unit 1?
What do you mean the situation?
Like, where are
We have them.
you? have the as-built?
Yeah, they were part of the letter.
We haven't had some talk.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought you said you never got the as-built.
Well, yeah. They're part of the letter.
That's what's generated the punch list.
Yeah. It's a combination of inspection things and as-built. So it's one reason it's so big.
It is not bad, and I think as we had discussed at the previous meeting that we were in, it wasn't going to be beneficial to anybody to piecemeal a response together, to say, here, we got taken care of some of these, go out and take a look at it, and then Public Works has to go take time to go do it, only to come back and do repeated inspections. So that was the
I remember discussing that. In here.
Right, and that was the intention of having a very substantial list. That was the intention of coming back with one response. And that is our goal. That is what we're still working on. As Tim and as Don have alluded, we had some challenges in Unit 1. There's no doubt about it. We've stepped into it. I think that we've taken ownership of it. Don't think we've really made excuses. I think that we have tried to work with it. As you can see, we're starting to make some changes in contractors that we have on site. You're seeing some new people that are out there. I think that's a direct cause of what has happened in Unit 1. So, I mean, I'd be more than happy to discuss anything in greater length if you'd like.
agree. I think that's a good
Comments that you
idea to
have.
do. And again, like I said, I'm glad to see the progress being made. And in 2 weeks, I mean, we have our meeting out there and, you know, I have that comfortability of that enough of this stuff has been taken care of. I still have concerns about the dirt in the county. I mean, it's irritating to me to go through all this planning process, and we talked about that wall for countless, that was one of the big deals on this whole plan of that grade change along that line, and that wall was the solution to the thing, and then you go ahead and start building and it's gone. I mean, now the lot's built in, and pretty much we did what we wanted to do instead of doing that.
That wasn't our intention, just to jam this through and then keep on going. I believe that we are working with the county to be able to have a acceptable solution to this.
I mean, the conversation that Don's had with the county is they didn't have much of a solution for it, did they? They said that they needed to annex the property into the town. That was
They had two solutions, I believe. Steve Niagara responded back to Todd this morning. One was annexation and one was to go through their subdivision process.
So, Mr. President, the area we're talking about,
Annexation's a punt.
the
Yeah.
area they're talking about,
I'm familiar with the area they're talking about.
in phase one, and with my research and speaking with our team, nothing was done intentionally. It sounds like they may have put the cart in front of the horse when they built it, as they were awaiting any responses to the revision that was submitted. I believe it was revision number 1. The previous land development manager out there built it, and then at a later date, Mr. McCurry finds out that there was a comment on it, and that was obviously the seeking the county approval. The reason that it was filled in was working with the adjacent property owner to solve some of his tillable area, and it would also eliminate the need for the retaining wall. This is one of the major issues on the phase 1 punch list. And going back to my opening comments, you do have the bond in place that's securing the items. The items are a direct function of a reduction in the bond, which we're not seeking at this time. But I feel the items should not be a direct function of the ministerial procedure on phase 2. Nobody wants to see the subdivision shut down without phase 2. We can't sell any more homes, but we're not going anywhere. And again, we're not going to ask for any type of a bond reduction on any of those items until they're 100% resolved. So you can still hold the $6.3 million bond that you currently have. And I get it. Nobody wants to come in and be a land developer. I understand that. Our flag's in the ground. We're not going anywhere.
Well, I appreciate your reminding us of the surety that's in place. But there has been occasions, I can't remember what it was, Don and Tim, you guys were letting things done as other things were being done.
Wait a minute.
And I forget what that was. A few months back, you guys were going to let somebody start doing something. I don't know if it was, I forget what it was. My point is, maybe the resolution here in 2 weeks is you don't get approval for 108 homes, you get approved for 30, or you get approved for 50. You need to get your list done so you can keep going. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here.
There's difficulty in that.
Well, there's
You can't be that pregnant.
Yep. I understand. I understand. You got to put all the roads in. You can't put just part of it in.
No. This planning commission agreed when they came in and wanted to do primary plat, to do 100 acres, 353 homes, one body.
Yeah.
Tim's right. What that created was a tremendous amount of work, exponential everything he and the staff do here. But we agree. So.
Realistically, these 80 plus things, when can they be done? I mean, you said November 27th?
November 27th is that?
Everything would be done November 27th.
It'll be after a meeting, no doubt about it. It'll be after a meeting, especially the grading. We're going to propose a couple of solutions for that, but we're obviously not going to do it unless we have the approval of the town. The other things are minor, as far as manhole inspections, mudding. There is an issue, I believe, that the high water needs to be adjusted a little bit. But again, those things are a direct function and condition of bond reduction. We're in front of you this evening, and I understand it's a double-sided sword. We're wanting this when there's this outstanding, and we might not be a good neighbor, but we want to be a good neighbor. And it's one of the reasons why I'm here is to help mend that relationship. And that punch list will be addressed, weather permitting, but it's full steam ahead. We've been working on this stuff for the last 7 days since I researched, did my homework on this project. But again, the last thing anybody can have is stopping the momentum of the project. And also in phase 2, that's when the pool will be constructed. That's ready to go. It's went out for bid. Early spring is when the pool will go in, and we'll meet that condition as well. That is part of the phase 1 plan.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
maybe the planning commission having more face time would be of value. It would hold some accountability to the developer, to keep staff and your thumbs on the pulse. And yeah, you have $6,047,000 surety, but God said we don't want to be developers. So you want them to do the developing.
No,
Lennar does
I'm-
about 60,000 homes nationwide. And then I'm trying to show you how big we are, but it just shows you that we're going to do what we're asked to do. That's one of the reasons, not to go personal here, but when I was looking for a change in career, I had 2 decisions to make, and I weighed the options, and my decision was with Lennar 100%, and hopefully I can change the view and make it more comfortable. And the same reason I chose them, you're going to continue to choose them as well.
This list, how much time are you going to need to do
I mean,
pieces
we're
of
gonna have
that?
a meeting with staff with them and go over what has been done and what is done. And again, I absolutely do not feel that, 100% of this needs to be done. I just need to have a comfortability level that, and again, they've been doing things without communicating to us that they've been doing them. So, I mean, before 3 or 4 days ago, I assumed that the list is still the list and there's nothing being done because that's the feedback that Don's got to his letter. I mean, usually you send out that letter and he has a phone call within 30 seconds of pushing the send button because they're like, what is this, what is that, whatever. Week goes by, 2 weeks go by, and we're like.
So I guess I have to ask the commissioner. John, you have any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I'd like to see the list done. Punch lists are called punch lists for a reason. And I'm a little upset about that wall. I mean, if we sit here and try to work with the developers and work out a plan that benefits them and us, and then they, on their own, choose to take the mortar up from the bricks and just put the mortar there. That's not right.
John, I mean, I don't want anybody to have a bad taste in their mouth. It's that Lennar just came in and steamrolled this and said, we're not going to do this, we're going to do that, we're the big time. That wasn't the case at all. At least from my understanding, I've been in that situation a lot, developing land, especially down the Washboard days of Parish Avenue, working very closely with the adjacent property owner to Lindsway. First thing we did in this room was discuss the drain tiles. And we went in the perimeter of that property, we found all the drain tiles, we went on their property, we caught them, we made sure we connected them into the interior stormwater management system. It's my understanding this is kind of the same concept that took place there. Unfortunately, an ordinance was not followed, and there was fill placed on the county property. Even though they did bring it to the town's attention, the work was done before they received the response. That is not something that will be resolved prior to our final plan. Worst case scenario, we're going in front of the county and doing a 3-month subdivision approval for that. It gets a little hairy because, unfortunately, ironically, that property, to the best of my knowledge, has recently gone under contract with a competitor developer, and it will be annexed in probably in the near future. As I said in my email, nobody has a crystal ball, but I can see it coming. The property has transferred. Okay, that's a good thing. As far as knocking out one of the parties that we work with.
Well, it sounds to me like you have a lot of work to do, especially in the next 2 weeks. Because if staff's not good with the list, I'm not sure.
But again, we're not in front of you this evening asking a reduction in the performance bond. That list would come at that time. And I think that's probably what sparked that list, is because Lennar was in front of you in the past seeking that reduction. That list may not have been produced yet if that request would not have happened. Now I'm in front of you this evening saying we're going to table the reduction in the performance bond so we can address these items. We're
I
not gonna-
believe we tabled that reduction request.
That might be, I apologize.
That's what, I believe that's the way it
Okay.
went. The other thing is, I don't care if you built 1,000,000 homes. I don't know you from Adam.
I understand that.
And this is the first time to my knowledge that the town has worked with Lennar. So what I've seen in phase one is that you don't stick to your word totally. And to me, that's a crime. And I don't like that. So what guarantee are you going to give us that you're going to complete this in a timely fashion? I'm not, saying you're going to have to sit in the corner until it's done.
Sure.
But I'm saying I want it done.
Right. And you have my surety that, it's on top of our priority list to address that. Unfortunately, there is the performance bond that was not reduced, and it's the full amount. If some horrible thing should ever happen where the town had to grab that, it's there for you, but that's not the plan. The plan is to address those issues. I don't think it'll be done in time for the final plat of phase two, but in conjunction with that, I don't believe it should be a contingency upon an administrative procedure of the final plat for phase two.
Well, I guess the feedback from staff to us will be very critical.
Will be critical.
Yeah, it's gonna be critical, because I'm looking. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this as the petitioners requesting a final plat for Rose Garden Estates phase 2, 108 lots and 1 outlet. That's in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be a lot of hurdles here with other things. And like I said, sounds to me like you got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
2
got a lot
weeks.
of work to do. I would not disagree with that. Mr. Rossman, would you agree that the items would be contingent upon the phase 2 final plan?
It could be.
When the lists get that big, I understand Mr. Kubiak's concern. Because as things don't get completed, all of a sudden there's occupancy, and somebody forgot about the last 2 things.
Forgot.
Jerry Haskell's talking about money. I don't think that will keep this arm's length. That might be asked. You're satisfied is that you withhold approvals appropriately to assure that. Not saying tonight's tonight.
I just, in my memory, I know we've done this.
They can't sell lots, they're not doing what they do.
Yeah.
And they need to sell lots. But at the same time, they need to do what they have to do with the infrastructure.
And just to go back to the list, I don't want there to be any perceived, that we're just trying to run away from this. I am more than willing to have regular meetings with the plan commission. We'll have regular meetings with the staff. It definitely seems like every few months we get to a kind of an impasse where there's claims of lack of communication, there's threats of not having building permits, and there's some real issues, I think, with how we're doing that. That's not what we want. We want to make sure that we are addressing every single one of the town's concerns. We'll do whatever we need to do to be able to do that. And if it is a communication thing, if it's once a month, if it's once every 2 weeks, if it's once a week, I'll meet with the staff. I'll meet at your convenience.
Again, I mean,
I think
the only
we're talking
in the past was the water flooding out Ledgestone. That was, it was brought up, and nobody did anything about it until I said, I'm not giving out any more building permits, and then all of a sudden it was a berm up and everything was good. I mean, problem solved,
And that was,
moving on down the road.
and that's one of the meetings I'm talking about, because that was within probably my first 2 weeks. Of
Right,
working
that was,
here.
yeah.
And I
again,
do remember
was-
that, and we've we've had a couple of other times where talking construction, we've gotten to that point a little bit. I don't want to get to that point. I mean, I want to do what is going to make the town happy. And
I
like I
don't
said,
either, like I said.
we've talked in the field, and I think that we've even talked about that list where I said it's not that we haven't been doing anything. It was just an extensive list. We are working on it, and we haven't made that submittal because once we do that submittal, that is going to trigger people going out and re-inspecting it. In an effort to be able to keep everybody efficient, rather than giving you a list that half the things have been accounted for, and then.
And
going back to
my
the
only,
list.
my only concern, Tom, is that we have that list to deal with, and I don't want to be, I mean, we have a limited resources here.
Right.
As a town, and I don't want to just keep steamrolling with 100 more, 100 more, 100 more, because 100 more lots in a normal situation is 5 years, and in your guys' situation, it's 3 months. You know, I mean, it's done before we blink. You're going to be here for phase 3, and we're still going to be dealing with. And I don't want to have a performance bond of $6.4 million on phase 1 when you're going to phase 3. Like, I don't want that situation to occur here. I want that to be reduced to 25%. And I want it to be moving forward and us, everybody moving in a forward direction. That's all.
Right.
I get it for. I just don't want to keep piling on and piling on and piling on, and
I
then
get it. And truthfully, I believe that surety
that's
is in
the
place.
and that's my only concern. And
Right.
that's it. Just we need to, you know,
I agree.
We're going over,
surety
you know,
is in
this-
place to make sure the public improvements get done. It's
Right.
not meant to be there for the long term.
And-
That's the thing. And that's where I want to have that relationship.
And that's what
We're
I
not
don't-
gonna
I don't
have us
want
falling
the-
back and saying you have all this money for it.
right. And then to me, yeah, to have, I don't care if we have a $75 million. I mean, you guys need to do your job. We need to give you your
Right.
money back, and we move down the road. That's what we want.
Can we set up that meeting? Is
Sure.
this the time to do it, or should we?
Whenever you want. I mean, whenever Don's, I'm more than happy to
Okay.
do us on the same.
And if
page.
it's a recurring meeting, until you get to that point where you feel comfortable that everything is going, I can have construction there, I will be there, we can have.
Yeah, like I said, since you come out of order, we've had a lot better than that, which is great.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
units do you have in phase 1?
Around 100,
Yeah, that's it.
about 100.
All right, and how many is in that you got completed right now?
In terms of closed, we were actually just talking about this. I think that we're probably in the ballpark of having maybe 30 of them closed, then the 30 to 35 range.
Right, and the 85 concerns you say you're going to have completed by November 27th?
The physical work of the stuff that is going to be done out there is going to be done by November 27th.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Al Erickson. I met with a few of you in the past in various meetings. I'm the Vice President of Land Development. I haven't been before you at any public hearing. The history of this, and I can certainly understand the concern Cedar Lake was a concern, is there's fear that comes with this kind of stuff. To have some builder or developer come in and build 100 homes a year or in 3 months, which won't be the case. Can't do it, but we do build a large volume of homes. And I take full responsibility for it, but the land development manager that was working out here the first 6 months, he was fired. Okay, I hired him and I fired him. We weren't happy with him either. And I apologize for any problems that caused. The punch list that Tom's been working on, that he received after they received the as-built last June. The as-built for Unit 1 then were submitted to Don in June. We received a list. I don't know the date of the list, but we wrote it September 1st. Tom was addressing the list. The list has been reduced to probably 15 or so items. Tom's providing interim updates. It would be nice to have meetings, keep everybody satisfied and happy. The last thing we want to do is create problems for you long term. We've bought too many communities in the last 4 years that were defunct because builders walked away and cities had to build. And you're not builders, we are. So we have to take responsibility for that, and we will. Trust me, we will. There's a lot of that work on that list is that needs to be turned over. And I assure you, these two guys are very qualified at what they do. And they are the face of this company in Cedar Lake. These are the guys you're dealing with every day. And I have the utmost confidence in them, and I am very confident that our team, not only our land development team, but our construction team, doing a darn good job of meeting your concerns, whether it be construction or development, and we'll continue to do so. And certainly if there are any problems that Dave or Tim or Don has, we're gonna do the best to work through those. Nobody's walking away from responsibility.
Well, you all three know that the ball's in your court.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
do our best not to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Tom, I'll give you a call tomorrow. Set a meeting up.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
Before he's not, Zoomers, anybody have any thoughts or questions? John, Heather, Chuck?
No, I would agree with what the gentleman just said, that, and what you said, ball's in their court, and see where we end up.
All right. Tim, you're going to be at meeting 4 hours every day. You're going to be at a meeting 4 hours every day.
I think he already is, probably.
Probably. Thank you.
Hey, Jerry, I would say that Mr. Eberly should decide whether this makes it to the next plan commission meeting or not.
Well, I think the group overall could make that decision, but I think he's certainly driving the bus. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. Why not?
Again, talking about the community, and I know it's large, but I don't think it does Cedar Lake or us as a builder any good if we try to. I know you want to use leverage and the powers that you have as a planning commission to get us to do our job.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we don't want to have to.
But in the same breath, the last thing that I think Cedar Lake or we would like is to stop this train from moving. I think the community has come along. It's been barely a year since we broke ground out there. We broke ground on mass grading in August of 2019. Okay, we now have roughly 40 homes, so more than 40 homes sold, and another 30 or so under construction. We have obligations as part of the original PUD to complete a pool, a clubhouse, and the related infrastructure, and we're going to fulfill those obligations.
Yeah.
But I hope you're conscious of that. That's all.
Yeah, I want you to understand that I believe where Tim's coming from is if we have 80 things in the first phase and we got 80 things on the second phase,
Yeah.
and then we got more in the third phase, and then these places are sold and you guys are gone. We got to get them dialed in now, not later when we're arguing over the $18 million of a bond or whatever's going to be out there.
I absolutely understand that.
So,
if I was sitting in your chair, I'd feel the same.
yeah, no, sounds to me like your intentions are.
They always have been. I've been doing this personally in Indiana, Wisconsin, and Illinois for 35 years. My integrity means an awful lot to me, and I wouldn't stand here and say that. Back it up.
All right. Thank you. All right. We'll go to item number 4. Oh, so go ahead. The building.
Yes.
Okay. All right. This is the petitioner's original request for a site plan is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Gary, what?
Hang on. This is an agenda item in 2 weeks. This is going to be an update in 2 weeks?
They
What-
requested to be on the agenda for last meeting.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, item number 4, Great Oaks Center, Lot 2 site plan. Owner, the Lawrence Property Group, 13097 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. The petitioner is Sean Perfetti, the Lawrence Property Group. Field description, Great Oaks Acres Storage, Lot 2. Petitioner is requesting a site plan. Hello.
John Torringa with Torringa Engineering again. Sean Perfetti, Lawrence Property Group, and Ted Rowe, who is the architect, are also here. What we are proposing to do is 11,200 square foot building on Lot 2. There will be parking in front, parking behind the building. We did submit these plans and received the reviews from the town engineer this morning, which I haven't had an opportunity to address. So if you have any questions, we're here.
All right, I'm just kind of flipping through Don's
It's a
21
storage
comments
facility,
here.
is that correct?
It's behind,
Storage.
it's behind the strip mall,
Okay.
It's behind the strip mall.
perpendicular to the strip mall.
Oh, I
What's
see.
what's the building use going to be?
Medical with professional intent.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
One of the items on your list was that he has to get an agreement with the property owner of the strip mall.
He's technically getting access from a private parking lot. That would be advised.
Lawrence Property Group is the owner.
Is the owner? Okay.
And they're good.
Hang on, hang on. Doesn't the owner of the storage unit have an agreement with the owner of the banquet facility for the use of that road?
That's not.
Yeah. It's off of the strip mall.
It's behind the strip mall, right?
Yeah, it's behind it, but they have an ingress egress to their southern parking area off that parking area, not off the private drive.
No, it's actually the road that's behind the strip mall. Directly. behind.
So you bought the property from Dick Hen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I briefly looked at the comments from Mr. Oliphant, and I didn't see anything that was too difficult to answer. I'll get together with him and square it up.
Have you heard from Neil about the water? About the water main extension?
No.
Okay. I know he's aware of it, but I don't know if he's looked at it yet.
And that's the water line that's on the east side of the property that has to be taken to 41.
They are taking it from the storage facility all the way out to 41 to complete that loop. Yes. That is part of the site plan. It was required to be part of the site plan as part of the overall development approvals 2-3 years ago.
Oh, yes, it was a previous requirement. Yes.
This is
Yeah.
the second time lot two's been in front of you.
Yep.
Dick Hen was
Yeah.
proposing something there, and at the
Yeah.
time,
Okay,
that was
I
one of
got
the
it.
requirements.
So one more time, the road going in there, they don't need an agreement with
Well,
the owner?
you gotta get this accurate.
Well, I'm trying.
Which road? Is it the north, is it a north-south ingress, egress behind strip center, or is it the east-west, east-west?
Well, both.
I'm talking about the east-west.
East-west, there's already a platted ingress egress easement part of the original platting of lots 1 and lots 2.
Where's that at on the
The
GIS?
existing access.
It
drive.
doesn't show up on GIS.
And does Dick Hen own that road?
It's actually part of lot 2. You can see it
Yeah,
behind it.
included as part of lot two.
Included as part of lot 2. So
Mr.
the
Hen-
ingress egress is for lots 1 and the banquet facility. Since it's part of this lot, they don't need an ingress egress to access that road. They would need one if it was for part of the fronting shopping mall there. But if they own it,
Okay, so
technically you don't have to require it.
that road going to the storage unit, you own.
Yes.
So you have an agreement with the owner of the storage unit and the banquet hall that his people get to use that.
Part of
Okay.
the plat.
That's what we're,
The
that's what
overall
we're
purpose
talking
of
about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we, yeah,
That's different than you had the end project. So we probably need to see all of that.
Hen owned it at that time. He sold it to Warren Puppy.
Okay? So, obviously, different topic.
we just, no, I think what I just want to make sure of is that everybody who needs to use it gets to use it. And the water line gets where it's supposed to go. So you're gonna come in on
One off
Right.
at east-west, one off the north-south rear.
okay.
Oh, okay.
We got the plans up.
Trying,
Technically it's 3 entrances, but
trying. Private road.
Yeah. Yeah, we got it.
page, what, yeah, 50.
Page Page 5. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
58.
And there's room for the pond and everything looks like?
Yep.
There's an existing pond there that we're avoiding. We're building a new pond that will drain into the existing pond.
That's the one all the way down on the bottom. Yeah. Okay. Is there, other than your comments, Don, anything else you're concerned about?
There's no death nail by any means in here. They'll need an easement for the water main. We just kind of waiting on the easement language and we'll look at that. A lot of the comments are just rather minor. Some tie-in grades. The site's up a little high, so it's got some tie-in challenges to the south and to the north, but it's nothing we can't work out.
There's a dramatic slope across this property. So
Yeah.
we may need to raise the building height.
Okay. And the water line?
Road going in there 130 twice?
No,
No?
no, it is not a public road.
It may have a label.
All right, according to this map I'm looking at, it does. And are you gonna connect Schneider Street?
No,
No? Okay.
there's a sewer easement through that corridor, but that's it. The public right of way stops south of this parcel.
Yeah. It has 130 place in here.
So the water line will continue all the way to 41 and create a loop.
That is what I believe is shown. Yes.
Okay.
It's not gonna create a loop. It's gonna bring water out.
Water
It's
out.
gonna-
There's
it's
nothing
gonna
out
dead-
there
It's
now.
gonna dead end there for a future loop.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have any plans for the proposed building going there or elevations or anything or?
Brown has brought some elevations of the proposed building.
Somebody might ask. This is property have a look for
Yes, it does. 13097.
I just want to be sure we don't inherit another road
No, it's
that
private.
doesn't have, that hasn't been improved to.
Yeah, that was vetted as part of the commercial platting a couple of years ago.
Road. Square.
Rectangle.
Perfect rectangle.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Yeah, so the building's laid out, it's a rectangular building that's 70 feet deep and it's set up on the floor plan for 4 possible tenants, 2,000-3,000 and a couple smaller ones. But as you know, it could be subdivided different ways. It's going to be a wood frame building. It's going to complement the structure that Sean currently owns on 41. And it's a combination of stone and siding and shingle roof. Pretty straightforward construction with front entries along the private road, and rear accesses and egress in the rear of the property. And the rear parking is essentially for employees. So
You'll need to get a special use for the number of businesses on that one lot. So make sure that you apply for that, and then also make sure that you meet the minimum standards for the parking, so that could be included in that. I don't know how many parking spots you have. But
yeah, with 56. I think Don designed it for 1 for 200 square feet of space.
I mean, they're pretty much maxed out on parking.
Yeah.
Yes, we did our job for Sean.
All right. Mr. Kapoor, any thoughts?
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, John.
No, it's just right behind the strip mall where the pump house is.
Yes, and/or was.
I think it's gone. Isn't it? Still there?
Well, I don't know. We don't have a picture of it, so.
It's showing up on the existing plan.
Yeah, you do, Chuck. Bob just texted it to us.
I'll
Is that servicing anything anymore? Is that well house servicing anything?
It services the strip mall.
The strip mall, right? So you're going to transfer
Yes,
that over to water? Okay.
correct.
The well will be capped, filled, capped.
The well is going almost directly underneath. the
Yeah,
proposed
it's
building.
got to
Yeah.
go.
It's gonna be destroyed.
Okay. All right, Mr. Austin, anything? All right. Mr. Kubiak,
No, I have nothing. It looks good. So far, so good.
Seems-
So,
seem-
You're gonna have a maximum of 4 uses, correct? Maximum.
that's probably the way the special use needs to read. Maximum of 4 uses. Okay.
In that zoning district.
Over.
All right, Heather, Chuck, or John, anything else?
Not right now for me, no.
No, I would just say, good luck to you, Sean. It looks good. Good luck.
Mr. Carnahan?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Sharp?
all
you're
good.
All right. Okay, I think, aren't any more questions, so hopefully,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
Could I ask one minor question?
Sure.
The site plan shows the building to be 11,200 square feet. Your drawing floor plan shows 10,000 square feet. What's the,
Don's plan is correct. We had these drawn, and then when we tweaked the distances we needed between the top of the building, from the building. So yeah, the building will reflect those drawings.
it'll be 11,200?
Yes,
Okay,
that is correct.
thank you.
We were hoping for 12, but Don needed a little more space, so.
Okay.
We shrunk the building.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Everyone else good?
Good.
I think we're good. No more questions.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. Item 5, Summer Winds, Unit 2, Performance Letter of Credit. It expires December 20th, 2020. Petitioner is requesting to convert the performance letter of credit to a maintenance letter of credit. Petition, Summer Winds LLC.
We can address 5 and 6. So units 2 and 3 of Summer Winds, they're actually they're not seeking performance going into maintenance. They're just going to seek a reduction to the minimum allowable.
Okay.
25%.
Is this all, you have this all worked out already?
We've let the engineer and the developer know what is outstanding. We're kind of waiting to hear back, but we probably need to press them a little bit considering the expirations in December.
Due to
So
the holidays and everything coming up. These
Yeah.
will be voted on at the next meeting.
Yep.
So I wanted this to be on here so we can make sure that
Yeah, don't let them push you into midnights.
no, I've let them know what they need to do to get down to it. I just haven't heard anything back from them. So it's a
All right.
little irritating, but we'll figure it out.
Okay. Item 5 and 6, that was item 6 with Summer Winds, Unit 3, Performance Letter of Credit. Update items, Beacon Point Unit 3, Performance Letter of Credit. Item 2, Beacon Point Unit 4, Performance Letter of Credit. Any updates on those?
Same thing.
Same
We
thing?
have to, we're getting through that. Those don't expire till mid 21 and late
Okay.
21.
All right. Let's see. Any public comment? Seeing none, I'm going to. Anyone, Zoomers?
No, sir.
Nope, all good.
I'm going to consider this meeting adjourned.